Hello, my name is Michael Thornton, and I am the Associate Professor of Horn at the University of Colorado at Boulder. I am also the Principal Horn of the Colorado Symphony. Today, I am here to talk with you about the Potag Preparatory Melody number 65, required for the 2013 Colorado All-State Ensembles. In this exercise, what we are faced with is an opportunity to play a very beautiful lyrical and legato line. And the first thing that we really need to make sure that we heed are the markings of the composer. And you note that there are both slurs marked and portato or portamento type markings where you have a slur with dots underneath them. When we're trying to make that shape of the slur with dots, I find that it works rather effectively to begin by simply slurring the notes in question. So the very opening I would play, all slurred. Then, when I'm comfortable with my airflow, I would simply put a very light da tongue on each of those, keeping the air the same way I do when I slur. In this manner, I make sure that the airflow is going through the notes and that there's no distinct separation, but rather that each note has a little bit more clarity to the front of it from that da articulation. This is repeated consistently throughout this etude, and I think it's one of the things that we really need to pay very critical attention to as you go about your recording process. The other really significant element of this etude is register. And there are two main spots where the register comes significantly into play. The first is in the third line or system when we go up to the high B flat. And to work on a passage like that, I find that it's best to start from a glissando. And so I will take a passage like that completely out of context and on F horn first valve simply go to work on the way that the aperture needs to focus and refine up to the high note. Notice I don't play particularly loud when I'm doing this. I simply work to make the aperture get smaller so that we're playing the most streamlined and efficient note in the upper register. Then I will take that exact technique and I will put it into the context of the music. So in practice, I would play the third line like this. By playing that glissando slowly and quietly, it allows me again to find the right shape and the right amount of intensity in the embouchure to make this work properly. After practicing like that many times, I would start gradually to put the 3/8 notes that precede the B flat back into place. So one version would be The next version would be, and the last version would be. So I'd practice it in different formats like that so that I'm gradually taking away the glissando that I'm using as a means to get from point A to point B, in this case from the lower B flat to the upper B flat. When you're dealing with the last measure of the entire piece, that low F can also be a troublesome note for many players. And one way to go about working on this is to work on making large slides or pitch bends to the lower note. So when you're playing the end of the piece, you could play. It doesn't sound particularly attractive, but bending the pitch down to that F can be a very effective way to work on getting a centered F at the end of the work. Then I gradually, again, move backwards and play more of the music that precedes that gliss while still using the slide or bend. And then gradually I will eliminate that. These are probably the most important things to be aware of as you go through this exercise. In addition to these, it can be very helpful, like I discussed in POTAG number 42, to play all of the eighth notes. So when you are faced with a dotted quarter note, you simply play eighth notes to hold the place and keep time constant for you. In addition, there are several intonation elements that come into play with this, and it's very good to work with a tuner to continue to build your critical ear and be as aware of those spots as possible. So I hope that this gives you a sense of what you might do to be successful on your all-state audition tape. And if you would like any further explanation or help with these excerpts, please don't hesitate to contact me directly. Good luck and have a great year.